Ladies and gentlemen, history is a battlefield where nations rise not by luck but by the choices of their rivals. The greatest victories are often born not from strength, but from the missteps of the powerful. And today I stand before you with a bold declaration: America's next great mistake will crown India the global winner. Every empire in the story of civilization has collapsed not because the world outside was too strong, but because the foundations inside grew too weak. Armies may invade, competitors may challenge, storms may rage, but it is not the outside pressure that destroys a giant. It is the cracks in character, the erosion of discipline, the blindness of pride. Rome did not fall because its enemies were invincible. It fell because its leaders became complacent, because its citizens lost the hunger that built their greatness, because corruption and arrogance hollowed out the empire from within. So it is with every power in history. The downfall begins quietly, when vision gives way to vanity, when strength is wasted on comfort instead of creation, when leaders forget that the future rewards those who prepare for it today. No nation is ever defeated until it first surrenders to its own weakness. And when that weakness takes root, the collapse is inevitable. This is the great truth: the walls of an empire may stand tall, its flags may wave high, its wealth may dazzle the world, but if its people grow divided, if its leaders grow arrogant, if its spirit grows weary, then its fate is sealed. Destruction comes not from the enemy's sword, but from the rust that eats away at its own armor. And as the old giant falters, the stage clears for the rising power, the one that still carries fire in its heart, discipline in its mind, and hunger in its spirit. Power has never been loyal to one land, one flag, or one people forever. It is not chained to history, nor bound by tradition. Power is restless. It looks for new guardians, for new homes, for those who are ready to claim it with vision and determination. The world has seen this again and again. Once, it was Egypt that ruled the known world. Then it was Greece, then Rome, then the European empires, and now America. And in every age, the crown of leadership passed not to the one who demanded it, but to the one who prepared for it. Preparation is the silent architect of destiny. When a nation builds its schools, strengthens its industries, invests in its thinkers, and cultivates its resilience, it becomes the natural heir to power. No proclamation is needed, no conquest is required. The world itself begins to recognize and follow. The torch of leadership is never dropped by accident. It is seized by the nation most ready to carry it forward. And so, when America turns inward, distracted by division or consumed by short-term games, the opportunity will not be lost to the void. It will be caught by the nation that has been quietly preparing, patiently building, relentlessly striving. That nation will not need to beg for recognition. The world will see in its energy, its creativity, and its momentum the qualities of the next global leader. For power is not permanent. It is a guest that stays only in the house where discipline, innovation, and courage are alive, and the next shift will belong to the one who has done the work in advance. Talent is the most powerful currency of progress, and yet it is also the most restless. It does not cling to soil or stay chained to borders. Talent is like water. It flows where it is welcomed, where it can move freely, where it is given the chance to become something greater. A nation may have the tallest skyscrapers or the largest armies, but if it does not create a vision bold enough to inspire its people, the talented will quietly pack their dreams and carry them to another land. It is vision that calls forth genius. It is vision that makes a young scientist, an ambitious entrepreneur, or a restless creator believe that their effort will not be wasted, that their ideas will not be buried. Geography cannot command loyalty, but vision can ignite it. The mind of the innovator does not ask, "Where was I born?" It asks, "Where can I build? Where can I rise? Where can my work touch the future?" A history shows this clearly. Minds crossed oceans to study in the great universities of Europe. Inventors moved to the industrial hubs of America. Artists traveled to the cities that pulsed with culture and freedom. Always, it was not the soil that pulled them. It was the promise, the possibility, the vision that said, "Here, you can become more." So when one nation loses its vision, When its policies stifle creativity and its leaders stop dreaming, talent will not hesitate. It will flow like a river to the nation that dares to believe bigger, to plan longer, to promise opportunity. And when that happens, the balance of the world will shift. The nation that holds the vision will hold the future, because the minds that build the future will gather there. Wealth is timid by nature. It does not stay where storms of uncertainty rage, nor does it linger where instability eats away at trust. Wealth seeks safety, but more than that, it seeks growth. It moves to the soil where resilience is planted, where determination refuses to yield, where a nation proves, through action, that it can withstand trials and still move forward stronger than before. Resilience is the magnet of capital. When industries adapt instead of collapse, when entrepreneurs rise again after failure, when a society transforms setbacks into stepping stones, wealth recognizes that this is the place where it can multiply. Investors do not follow noise, they follow strength. They follow the certainty that no matter what obstacles arise, this people will endure, adjust, and keep building. History has always rewarded those who endure the longest. Nations that bounce back from wars, from economic crisis, from natural disasters, eventually rose higher than those that crumbled under lesser pressures. Resilience is the signal that a nation cannot be easily broken. And wealth, whether in the form of resources, investments, or opportunities, gravitates toward what cannot be destroyed. A fragile nation may have riches for a moment, but like sand in the hand, they slip away when challenges come. A resilient nation may start with little, but through persistence, discipline, and faith, it attracts wealth that trusts in its future. Wealth seeks not just profit, it seeks continuity, and continuity belongs to those who are unshaken. So when one nation squanders its chance by showing weakness, by allowing internal chaos to erode confidence, wealth will not wait. It will migrate. It will find the rising power that shows not only ambition, but unshakable endurance. And once it arrives, it will stay, for resilience is the truest insurance of prosperity. Dominance can capture attention, but it cannot hold respect. It can force obedience, but it cannot inspire loyalty. The world has seen mighty empires rise with the roar of armies and the shadow of fear, only to see them collapse when that fear faded. Dominance may win battles, but discipline wins the future. Discipline is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It is not the loud march of conquest, but the daily rhythm of persistence. It is the farmer tending his field year after year until the barren land becomes fertile. It is the student who studies while others sleep until his knowledge becomes mastery. It is the nation that builds brick by brick, refusing shortcuts, refusing arrogance, choosing the hard road of preparation over the easy road of illusion. The world does not ultimately follow the loudest voice. It follows the one that proves, over time, that it can deliver. Dominance tries to demand trust. Discipline earns it. Dominance creates fear in others. Discipline creates confidence in others. The one who dominates may force the world to kneel for a moment, but the one who practices discipline will be asked to lead for generations. Look at history. The empires that shouted the loudest with military power or political control burned brightly for a while, then faded into dust. But the nations and leaders who built with patience, who trained their people in persistence, who respected the process of gradual growth, those left a mark that outlived armies and flags. Discipline builds foundations that cannot be easily shaken. It creates systems that outlast individuals. It forges a culture where resilience and excellence are not acts of brilliance, but habits of daily life. And when the world looks for leadership, it will not turn to the one who intimidates. It will turn to the one who demonstrates unwavering consistency. The truth is simple. Dominance is temporary, discipline is eternal. And the next great shift in global power will not be toward the one who shouts the loudest, but toward the one who keeps walking steadily, step by step, while others lose their way. Every mistake is a doorway, but only for those bold enough to step through it. When a great nation stumbles, the world does not stop turning. The gap left behind becomes fertile ground, and the competitor with courage, clarity, and speed will turn that mistake into opportunity. History has proven this time and again the decline of one empire has always been the moment of birth for another. Mistakes expose weakness. They reveal where priorities were misplaced, where arrogance blinded judgment, where short-term pleasure outweighed long-term wisdom. But in that exposure lies treasure for the rival who is watching closely. Each error is a lesson written in fire. Do not repeat this. Do better. Move faster. The bold competitor studies not only its own path, but also the blunders of its opponent, and from that study it harvests advantages. Think of it as a game of strategy. One player miscalculates, leaves a piece unguarded, and in that instant, the opponent seizes control of the board. The power does not go to the one who avoids all mistakes. No one avoids them completely. It goes to the one who is sharp enough to turn another's mistake into momentum. That is the essence of competition. When a superpower falters, its allies lose confidence, its institutions weaken, its people grow restless, and its leadership hesitates. But for the rising nation, this is the moment to step forward with certainty. This is the moment to capture markets abandoned, to attract talent neglected, to claim influence surrendered. Opportunity is never absent. It is merely waiting for a bold hand to reach out and grasp it. The truth is that mistakes are not the end of power. They are the transfer points of power. And the competitor with the courage to claim them writes the next chapter of history. The future is not gifted, it is claimed. It does not drift gently into the hands of a nation simply because of its size, its wealth, or its history. The future bows only to belief, unyielding, unshakable belief in destiny. A people who see themselves as small will remain small, no matter their numbers. A people who doubt their own strength will forever serve those who do not doubt. But a nation that dares to believe, that dares to declare to itself and to the world that it is meant for greatness, begins to bend reality in its favor. Belief is not mere hope. Hope waits for something to happen. Belief acts as though it is already true. When a nation believes in its destiny, its schools no longer just teach lessons. They raise leaders. Its entrepreneurs no longer just build companies. They create legacies. Its people no longer just endure hardship. They transform hardship into the fuel of progress. Belief awakens energy that numbers cannot measure and resources cannot explain. The difference between nations that rise and nations that vanish is not talent, not wealth, not geography. It is the courage to believe in the future before it arrives, to see themselves as chosen for a role in history, and then to work tirelessly to make that role real. Every empire, every civilization that left its mark on humanity first spoke to itself in the language of destiny. And those that doubted, those that hesitated, those that were too timid to imagine their greatness became footnotes in the books of history. The future will not wait for the uncertain. It will not reward hesitation. It will march toward the bold, the disciplined, the visionary, the nation that dares to look at the horizon and say with absolute conviction, that belongs to us. And when that declaration is backed by action, by sacrifice, by unity, the world itself cannot resist. Destiny does not belong to the privileged. It belongs to the prepared. It belongs to those who believe so strongly that even their struggles become proof of their greatness. The crown of the future will not be given freely. It will be taken by the nation with the audacity to believe it was meant to wear it. My friends, history does not reward hesitation. The decline of one superpower is the dawn of another. America's mistake is India's moment. And when that moment comes, only one nation will rise to claim the mantle of global leadership. That nation is India.